Hello, ladies, and welcome to Woman podcast. I'm your host, Denise Hanks Lawrence. This audio space is created for every woman that is on her journey towards wellness and to becoming this authentic, individual, purposeful woman she was created to be. So, again, thank you for listening to Woman Number Two Woman. So, if this is your first time listening, please catch up on all our previous episodes. And if you're one of our regular listening audience, we thank you for continuing this journey with us. Your support means a lot to us in success of this program. Ladies, we continue our conversation today with Camille Dailey, fashion designer for House of Ilona, clergy brand for women, also Ordained Magazine, Finding Divine Flow, the book, and also the podcaster, as we continue our conversation on the inevitable effect that we have on others and our dreams being too big.
Hello, everyone. Denise, thank you so much for having me. It's an absolute honor to be here on the Woman to Woman podcast. Hello, everyone out there in podcast land and YouTube land and everything else.
So, Camille, let's just continue where we left off our last conversation about when to share our dreams.
Safe places that will open up and you test the waters. Let me just test. Let me just give you a little bit of this. I'm not gonna give you a whole pearl. I got a whole necklace back here. I'm not gonna give you a whole pearl. I'm just gonna let you just a little. Let me just test it and see. Let me see how you handle that. Okay, no, you can't be trusted. So I'm not giving you any more of my pearls because pearls is wisdom. Pearls is precious.
Yeah,
And you can't cast your pearls before swine because it says that they'll tear up the pearls and then they'll come to tear you up straight after.
right after.
So you got to be real careful with your pearls and be careful who you share with and there'll be a circle, there'll be an inner circle that you can share with, but don't chase it. Just take time.
Right, right,
Marinate over that thing because it's too precious, it's too dangerous to put the pearls in the wrong hands.
right. When you talk about the effect, so there's positive and there's negative. What are some of the positive effects that we have on others, and what are some of the negative effects that we have on others, and vice versa?
So with the positive effects we have on others, so one of the podcast shows I did recently was with a friend of mine. She's doing really great in business. She's just started her nail business. And then she just kept saying, because when you did this and when you said that, and I was like, let's just do a podcast together and let's just explore this a little bit more. So I was like, so what did I think she said she was about 11 when we first met, and she was like, I was 11 years old and you was up there on the praise team, and she said you were the fashion icon of the church. I was like, I was what?
Wow.
But in her little 11-year-old eyes, in this city outside of London, this was the fashion lady that she looked up to. And
Wow.
she was watching me in my journey because this was going back a good 10, 11 years. So she was seeing all those early days of me doing fashion and testifying a little bit in church and then mention something to pastor and he would preach on it a little bit and this is what's going on with Camille and she met someone and I'm testifying and she and her little eyes, I didn't realize her little eyes were watching me. And she got to the point in life where she was just like, okay, I need to figure out what my business is, and went into nails and she's doing great in nails, and COVID happened and she started creating nail oils because I saw some nail oils one day and I was like, one day I'll see you, and she created this. So you don't know what little eyes are watching you, have
Mm,
been watching you, are watching you, but you're having an effect on people that you don't even realize that you're having an effect on. I'd be posting on social media and doing my thing and go quiet for a little while, and people I didn't even know were watching me like, Camille, what's going on? Are you okay? You haven't seen you post for a while. Oh, you ain't liked, you ain't commented, you ain't shit. I ain't never seen you. But you're having an effect.
wow. That's resonating with me right here. I know somebody's listening. Talk a little bit more about that. Having an effect without even realizing it,
Without
right?
even realizing. And sometimes it's when you stop, it's when you change. That's when you realize, oh, I didn't know you were watching. I remember even in the book I was getting to this place where I was just like running out of ideas. And so again, I wasn't ready to announce it on my Facebook yet. Because I just didn't need the pressure. I was just like, I want to be in this safe space, just writing and doing what I'm doing. So I just went and I was like, if I was to write a book on my business journey,
Mhm.
What would you be interested in hearing? So there's a few people that I've got in mind that are going to respond to this question I put on Facebook.
Right.
I had these people coming out of the woodwork that I did not know they would be interested. I didn't know they knew what I was doing. I didn't know they had any interest in me. And they were like, I want to know this. We'd want to know that. I'd love if you could write about this. And again, you're having an effect, but you just
Wow.
don't know who or where. But keep showing up, keep being you, and keep doing what you're doing because you are having a positive effect, and other people are having an effect on you as well. And then there's the negative effect of measuring and comparing. And me and my husband would say this all the time. You know, you're trying to talk about and maybe celebrate what you're doing, and it's having sometimes a negative effect on people. So I could say something simple to another couple and I'd be like, well, when on the days when my husband cooks, and they're like, and she's like, the wife is like, well, my husband used to cook, but now he has to work, so that, and it's like, I wasn't asking you about that. I was just telling my story.
There's another part about it, and what we want to dissect into today, which has to do with how do we deal with when our dream is too big, right? It's loud, and it may be even big for us, but even more so when it's too loud for others. How do we share? How do we actually walk into that purpose or what that dream is saying? How do we do it when it's too big, that it's too big for others to contain? It's too big.
It can be hard, especially for those who have known you since, Jesus, wasn't he Joseph the carpenter's son? Those that have known you coming up, and suddenly all of this is happening, and it can be hard, especially for people who know. Sometimes it's easier for people who don't know you, like, oh, okay, yep, I can accept that, I can understand that. But sometimes friends and family, it can be hard for people to handle the size, handle what God's doing, handle, how do I categorize you now? People are seeing you one way, but I know you as this, and so it's definitely about managing yourself and knowing that you can't manage other people's emotions and expectations, but you can just manage how you maneuver and how you interact, how you kind of help and coach people through the new season that you may be going into as well. But sometimes it's hard. It's just hard for people to handle, hard for people to get their head around. But I preferred it when it was like this. I preferred you when you were like this. I preferred things when they were like this. Because the other thing that sometimes that happens when you begin to step out of the boat, step out of the comfort zone, step out on faith into what it is you want to do, is it now highlights this gap. It now highlights sometimes where someone else is. I know that I'm meant to be stepping out, and we can stay back here and make excuses, but when you step out and you leave me here, you're now leaving me exposed, because actually there's things that I need to be doing too. And
Mm,
I'm uncomfortable with you changing our environment. Can we go back to how things were?
wow. I like that. I like that. So you might want to step out, and you step out, but the person you left behind on the boat. But remember, the whole thing, even let's look at it that way as well. Jesus wasn't just talking to Peter. It wasn't just Peter on the boat. It wasn't just Peter on the boat. And I tend to think that we forget about that in life, right? It wasn't just Peter on the boat. And he spoke to the disciples. Peter responded.
Mm.
Peter did an action. Peter went forward. But what the message wasn't just for Peter. So even businesses, right? Or say someone wants to start something, they want to become an author, they want to become a fashion designer or anything that nature. It's not just for one person, it's for all, right? But it's who's stepping out, who's answering the clarion call. How do we navigate? How do we go forward? Do we take that chance? Do we share because it's too big for others?
Do it can have a negative effect, because actually if we've been pals and we've been girlfriends for all these years and we've been ride or die and doing what we're doing, and suddenly I'm saying now I want to step out and do something different, now I want to actually go forward into what I know I've been called to do, and stop
Right.
procrastinating and stop making excuses, where does that leave my girlfriend?
Mm.
That leaves my girlfriend on the boat. When I step out in faith, that leaves my girlfriend on the boat. It leaves her exposed to actually, what am I doing? And what have I been called and destined to do that I'm not doing?
Wow. But you talk about the boat. I look at the boat situation with Peter, and I use that in every area of my life now. And even with regards to this dream, right? Hearing this, getting this dream that may appear to be loud and loud for others or loud for myself, then, so to speak, right? So with this dream, remember, Jesus spoke to the disciples. He
Mm,
didn't speak only to Peter. He spoke to all the disciples. So for me, I'm at this space in my life where I'm learning to celebrate my small wins
yeah.
and not to feel guilty of going on without the others. Because the
Mm,
call was made, but it's who answered to the call. Make it all the way,
right.
right? So the process of getting to the there, it could mean some form of failure. It could mean I may drown somewhere or it seem like I'm going to drown. But the fact that I answer to the call, and I think sometimes if people want to do a business, they want to go out, they want to adventure, and they get this dream, like you say, the dream is so loud, it's loud for others. And yes, I understand I may leave my sister behind, and now she's exposed. But the fact is, we all heard the call,
Yeah.
right? So it's who answered to the call. For me, I know like I know what my gifts are. So if you need to go to a female doctor, a gynecologist, you go to a gynecologist not for your feet, right? You go to a podiatrist for that. So we all have different gifts and different abilities and different parts in the body that we are supposed to play that role, right? Just the same as in businesses. So, somebody may be an author, somebody may be a podcaster, somebody may be a fashion designer, but whatever it is, if whatever the dream is and whatever, if it's ordained by God and it's divine, divinely interpreted and everything in that nature, I think we should just go for it, no
Mm,
matter how loud it looks.
mm,
It's going to be scary, right? But go for it.
yeah.
So what happens now when, okay, it's loud that you yourself can't even believe it? How do you navigate?
For me, right now, I'm going through a season, and for the last 10, 11, 12 years, I have had to focus.
Mm,
And it's been really hard because I'm really creative and I get drawn by different things. But every time I've wanted to go off and try this other business and do this other thing, God's like, focus on this clergy brand. Focus on this clergy brand. Oh, but I couldn't. I've already got that. No, no, no. Focus on this clergy brand. And there were times where it was hard. And I remember getting a word about 2 years ago that there's coming a season where there's going to be so many different things going on, and you're going to be like, how can I even handle all this? And you're not even able to get a grip of it, but you're just going to have to go with God's divine flow. And I'm in that season now. At the time, I was like, yeah, I've just been told to focus, focus, focus. But from about this time last year, things began to open up, and I got to write the book, and we launched the magazine, and I'm coaching, and all these different things are now suddenly open up. And it's big, it's a lot of things, and it's hard to get a grip on, even the schedule and what's happening, and so many opportunities and doors are opening up left, right, and center. And I'm just choosing not to be overwhelmed
mm.
because God already said this was going to happen. And so I'm just enjoying the ride. And I said to my girlfriend, I said, I feel like I am flying at like
Wow.
500 miles an hour, going so fast, but I'm sitting on the plane with my seatbelt on, chilling. And for me, that is the essence of divine flow. But that's what I'm always trying to find. Even when I find it, then something can happen. It's like, oh my gosh, how am I going to? No, no, find the flow, find the flow. Okay, okay, we're good again. But seeking and laboring, because I'm always like, what worked? What do you need me to do? I'm a doer. So I'm always like, okay, God, what do I need to do? What do I need to do? And then I found that scripture and it said, labor, work to enter my rest. I was like, ooh, like that's the work you want me to do? Work to get to the place of rest.
Wow.
So I labor to find peace. I labor for joy. And I labor for his yoke that's easy and light. And those are my catchphrases. My team know I'm like, it needs to be easy and light. If it's hard and heavy, I'm not interested. I'm looking for easy and light.
I like how you said that. Easy and light. Like, look, your heart and that's not my portion right there.
Right.
Not my portion. So tell me something, Camille, like for anyone that's listening and watching that they've had these dreams, they've gone through the process and understand the effects. They've gone through the knowing the difference between the negative and the positive, whether it's from them and then from others. But they have these dreams, more than one dreams, right? And so they see themselves as an author. They see themselves as whatever it is that they see, multiple different things, and they want to go about doing it, and they want to trust the process. Is it important to have a team? Is it important to do it by yourself first? Or do you recommend mentorship, or, having a coach or something, or just go out there and just step on water?
I definitely recommend coaches and mentors. Like I said, even getting this book together, it was the business bishop. He did the forward for the book and everything. So that was my coach and my mentor right there in that season, just going through what I was going through. And it was just literally step by step. And then once you've done this, then you do this. Once you do that. And so having a coach is so powerful. And I really, really believe in just the power of prayer and my relationship with God. And okay, what next? And sometimes the what next question is, have you done the last thing I said to do? Sometimes we're always like, what's next? But have you done the last thing that I said? What's the last thing I told you to do? Have you done that? And have you been faithful in that little thing? I remember one season of my life where I was just like, okay, Lord, what ministry? What do you want me to do? And he's like, okay, I need you to be a wife and a mom. I was like, okay, amen. Okay, and what else? What else do you need me to do? And it's like,
Right, 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 right. Wow.
to be a wife and a mom. And right there,
Balance is key. Balance is key.
and that's the word. I remember saying something on my Instagram story one day, and I was like, just trying to juggle, trying to do this, trying to do that. And I used a cute little phrase, and I thought it was cute, and I thought I was cute. And then my brother-in-law was like, you're not a clown, you don't juggle. I was like, ooh. And I was like, yeah, it's not about juggling, it's about balancing. Because when you think about balance, think about a tightrope walker. Think about they need to focus. They need to focus on their core. They can hold everything, but they got to get that balance just right. And if it goes off, it's the core
Mm.
strength and focus and getting it done. So focus and balance have been my keys in business. And my third one is consistency.
Focus, balance,
Consistency.
consistency. Why?
Throughout my business journey, focus was where it all started. When I had loads and loads of things going on and different businesses, and I was like, I know I have to focus. I'm like, God, which one do I focus on? I've got so many great things going on. And God said, which one has been the most consistent? Everything was like an ECG. I'd do websites for people and they'd be great, and then nothing for a while, and then something else, and all these other business I was doing were like this, up and down, up and down. He said, which has been the most consistent? And these little clergy dresses, just
Mm.
consistent, just ticking over, ticking over, ticking over, ticking over. And I just kept hearing the word focus, focus, focus. You got to focus, you got to focus. So I was like, okay, I think I'm going to focus on these clergy dresses. And I kid you not, the day I made that decision, I had about 20 emails from different people. Oh, I know it took a while, but I would like this, and I would like that website, and I would like this, all this other stuff. And I was like, but I need to focus on these clergy dresses. So I sat and I said, if this is you telling me to come out on the water, I'm coming.
Right.
So sorry, but I'm no longer. I'm so sorry, but I was turning down money, 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 instant cash. Just no. I'm sorry. So, no, no, because I believe I heard come. So I'm going that way. So I'm so sorry. I'm no longer. I'm no longer in the boat business.
Wow. Wow.
I stepped out on the water and I poured my money into these clergy dresses. and I had manufacturers manufacturing volumes of these clergy dresses because I believe I heard come. And I had a massive photo shoot in the city centre in the big church, and we had press releases done, and I sent press releases everywhere. And then what happened next was nothing.
No.
Crickets.
Oh, okay. Been there.
I
Been
was
there.
like, did I hear correctly? Do I need to track all the way? Like, email those people back. Like, sorry, I take it back. I'll do the work. I was like, God, what happened? So anyway, time went on, and then I had a call one afternoon, and just a normal, oh, can you send a press release? We're interested in your story of these clergy dresses. Send a press release, send a photo, no problem. I've got the press release, I've got the photos. Here you go. Sent them. Went off for the weekend. Came back, had a phone call, and she was like, oh, I'm just checking my order went through. I was like, sure, no problem. How did you hear about House of Ilona? She was like, in the Times. That's a huge newspaper in the UK. In the
Mhm.
Times newspaper. I kept my best poker face. I was like, okay, sure, no problem. I got off the phone. I was screaming like, in the Times. It was in the Times, the
Ah,
Telegraph, the Washington Post, the Huffington Post.
wow.
It was everywhere.
Wow. I was going to ask you that question. Like, so I know you're based in London, right? I know you're based in the UK, but what is business like in other parts? Like, for example, in the US, we have a lot of women that love clergy dresses. So do you, I mean, obviously, which one, I'm not going to ask you which one has the best revenue, but you know what I'm trying to say? Like, what's marketing like for you?
In my early days, I was 99% of my clients were in the US and
Yeah.
Canada, and 1% over here. Over here, they were like, how dare you put a collar on a dress?
A frock? Is it a frock or a dress?
A frock.
Gotta
How
get
dare
my thing on.
how dare you? That was the response over here. There were some that were like, "Ooh, this is different." But in America, they were like, "Can you put rhinestones on the collar?" They were loving it when I came over. I came over to TD Jakes' his Pastors and Leaders conference and brought my whole range. They were like, "We see you on Facebook, we see you on Instagram," and the business just took off. But America has been my biggest audience. Now I'm probably about 70, 80, 20. So it's
Okay.
definitely more orders coming in from the UK where they've warmed. It's taken years. It's been a fight, but
So that's
America
why
has been.
consistency is key. Consistency, because it didn't happen overnight. So anyone that's listening that wants to go into any area of business and venture out into something that the dream is telling them that this is what it is, to know that it's going to be a process, but to be consistent to your why, consistent to the why you're doing what you're doing, and then the result will pay off. But it's not going to be easy because, like you said, there were times when you probably like that email you received. Can we need to talk? So what had happened was,
Literally. But the why is so important. The why is key. If the why isn't right, if the why isn't strong, if the why isn't rooted and grounded, if the why isn't true, if the why is based on someone else, something else, if the why is based on I got to prove so and so, can that why carry you through those hard times?
not at all, not at all. If you're doing it to prove something to somebody else, it's not going to be. It's not going to last. It
Mm-mm.
may, it may get to a place, but eventually it will die
Yeah.
because the real why is not there. So
Yeah.
the why is important. Where do you see your business now in the COVID season? Because okay, all right, I'm not wearing a clergy thing to come onto Zoom to minister the word, and mostly 90% of the churches that do have the technology, they are now, either a YouTube and Periscope, all these different things. And again, I won't try to say the names because I don't want to embarrass myself as to what I don't know. Okay, but for all the visual concept,
Mhm, mhm,
all
mhm.
the media, all the platforms that they can use, now, we're not really seeing ministers, even the males themselves, pastors and bishops and so on. We're not really seeing them, in that in their clergy garment, so to speak.
Mhm.
So, do you have any concern?
As soon as it hit, it was like, okay, Jesus, what now? Churches are closed.
Hello.
Um, and so even looking back at my own social media through that season, there was a thing called furlough where if you weren't working, You couldn't be working in your, if you're not working in your business, then you could claim this furlough scheme from the government. And straight away I was like, well, you're not going to make me stop working. I'm going to keep working. You can't pay me to stop working. And so that's where I was at the beginning. And then after a while, I actually looked back at the work that I was doing, and for weeks there was a period where I wasn't saying, buy a clergy dress. It was, we're praying for you. How are
Mm.
you coping in this season? How
Yes.
are your people dealing with grief when they can't be together? And here's an encouraging word. And it was just that part of the business helping you look good on the outside was quiet, but helping you feel good, that's where all the energy and all the focus went, just pouring into just here for you, women of God. We're praying for you, women of God. Even so COVID kicked off in the UK probably around March time, end of February, March. And that's when we just had a new issue of the magazine come out. And it was our second issue, and we had planned for it months before. And we were trying to think about the theme. What would the theme be? And so we were thinking spring, new seasons, Easter, that we were coming into that sort of season. For a God reason, we called this issue, Navigating New Seasons.
Wow.
We titled that back in like January. All these women of God were praying over these articles. You could feel it. You're reading these articles like God spoke to you when you wrote this. Powerful articles about navigating new seasons. The issue comes out in March as the whole world is navigating new seasons. And we were just like, thank you, Jesus. So we just really pivoted in terms of, the dresses were still there, that, there was a season where things really picked up, where people were doing weddings online and funerals, and they needed their collar. Can you get it to me real quick? And it was either, I need it by tomorrow, or it was, send it whenever, I just want to get one, so we had both extremes.
Right.
But we pivoted and just doing different things to really just try and help and serve. And right at the beginning of that whole season, I remember Bishop Malcolm saying, in the year of famine, Isaac sowed.
Come on.
In the famine, that's what hit me. He sowed in the who sows in the famine? It's famine,
We got to save the money. What you talking about?
right?
Put it under the mattresses.
Hide it, save it. But he sowed in the famine,
Right,
and
right.
in the same year reaped a hundredfold.
Come
And
on.
so that has been my mission, to just keep sewing. So I just kept showing up. I was like, I'm doing a free webinar, and it's all about the dream reset, because some of us need to reset our dreams, because what we thought was going to happen, things have gone left, but we need to reset. And so many of my friends were just like, I had all this vision plan that I wrote my dream board and my vision board. I did it 2, 6, 8 weeks ago, and now what? Like, they just felt completely thrown off.
Yeah.
And so I was just in a season just talking about the dream reset and resetting your dreams and still finding divine flow even in the midst of everything. And I just kept giving, and there was a group that I was meant to be coaching, and it was going to be the launch of my coaching. It was going to be amazing, and suddenly their business has been thrown in. So I was just like, let's still get together. I'm not even going to charge you, but let me just keep sowing. How can I help? How can I give? And I've just been sowing and sowing and sowing in the midst of the famine.
Yeah.
People were like, Camille, I come on Facebook and I just go straight for your page because people are speaking crazy, and I just come to get some. These people don't go to church, and these are just like school friends, and but they're just like, you are the only person with hope right now. And so I'm coming here for hope. And I was just a hope dealer in this season, and just doing what I could to just keep sowing.
See, when you give beyond you, it serves purpose. How do we emerge from this COVID? Because for me, 2020 is still 2020. 2020 is still the year of double vision, line, right? Reposition, and to rethink, re-strategize. And but we're doing what? For the same, it's the same vision. The vision remains the same. The mission remains the same. The purpose remains the same. But it's just, how do we navigate now? But some people are still stuck in March. They don't have the capacity to grow. They don't have the capacity to think beyond
Yeah.
where they are, but they want to grow. But what would you say to someone who's still stuck in March?
2020 is not over. There's still time. And try and take time to breathe and dream again. Powerful. It's powerful to dream again. It's powerful to just look beyond where I am and into the possibilities of what could be. And it just opens your mind up, because so often we're just firefighting and oh my gosh, and if this doesn't happen and that might happen and this eventuality, and what if I get sick, and what if I lose my job, and what if I can't pay them, what, and we just can live in that place, especially when you're watching the news and just so much going on. But actually, can I go into this creative space in my mind where I just dream again? What was it that I wanted when I was younger? What did I dream of being? And those desires of our heart are so important. And I really believe that God took a desire and wrapped us in that desire and put that desire in us. And he's like, I want you to want it so bad that you start to ask me for the very thing that I put inside of you, so then I can just open it and unfold what I already put inside of you. He said he will give us the desires of our heart. He put it in there in the first place.
To move from, so staying stagnant, staying at that one place, you're not going to get any result. It requires movement. It requires action.
God can't steer a stationary vehicle.
No,
So we need to get moving. And as we move, he can steer
I like
and
that.
direct us to where we need to go.
Oh my goodness. Camille, I'm going to ask you something. Usually on this podcast, what I like to do is what I call a call to action. And I'm just excited to, have what you call the hope dealer with me on today.
Hey, that's
Hey,
me, y'all.
hope dealer. The divine flow ordained hope dealer.
Yes, all of that.
Is it right? Multi-talented, multifaceted hope dealer. So, what you shared today was really, really, I mean, just wealth of knowledge and rich. What would be your call to action to our listeners today and our viewers?
It would be, it's really simple. And I would say to write this down. It's a simple prayer. Really, really simple. And it is simply this: Lord, what do you see when you see me?
Wow.
And that's at the end of chapter 5, The Inevitable Effect, in my book. And it's a simple prayer. Lord, what do you see when you see me? Because we can have all kinds of effects on people, positive effects, negative effects, but we can't take our view of ourselves from others, because they can love you today and hate you tomorrow, stand with you today and can't stand you tomorrow. And
Yes.
we can't anchor in that, but we can anchor in what our creator thinks, and we can anchor in his opinion of us. And it's just a really beautiful, simple prayer. Lord, what do you see when you see me? And let him begin to reveal his creation and his ideas and the thoughts that he was having when he had you on his mind and created you. And it will change your life.
Girl, listen. Oh, Camille, tell us where we can find you. Someone wants to follow you. What social media platforms are you on? Your website information, how can they get in contact with you? If there's someone that they know that, need that clergy look, because, 2021, we got to come back out. Hey, I want one with the collar over here, listen, yeah, I'm different, okay?
I love that.
You might just have to make a glow in the dark and glow in the something one for me. Listen. I can't be like everybody else.
Right, right. Awesome. Thank you so much. Again, thank you so much for having me. So, if you're interested in the clergy brand, we are House of Ilona. That's ILON for November A, houseofilona.com. We're at House of Ilona on Instagram, and we are House of Ilona Clergy on Facebook. And if you want to connect with me on Facebook, I'm Camille Dailey Live. My website is camilledailey.com, and I'm on Instagram a lot of the time, and I'm at Camille Dailey on Instagram, and it would just be absolutely phenomenal to connect with you.
And I know your books. Where can we get your book?
The book's available on Amazon, and it's also available on findingdivineflow.com. And the audio book will be on Audible very, very soon, literally within a couple weeks. And the podcast is also available on all the platforms, and it's Finding Divine Flow with Camille Dailey.
So again, ladies, if you're listening, you please send us your comment, your view, or anything you want to say at the number 2W podcast show at gmail.com. And Camille, once again, where can they reach you? Just say it one more time.
Yep, the website is houseofilona.com, and we are on Facebook, House of Ilona Clergy, Instagram at House of Ilona, and you can connect with me on Facebook, and I'm Camille Dailey Live on Facebook, and then at Camille Dailey on Instagram, and the book findingdivineflow.com.
Love it. Thank you so much, Camille. Thank you for your time, everything that you drop on today. Oh my goodness, I can't wait for us to have our next conversation. Maybe the next time I'll be on the front of Is that ordained? Is that what I said? Is it ordained that I be
doing?
Yeah, girl. Dreams too loud.
Come on now. I love it. I have had way too much fun today. Thank you so much, Denise. It has been brilliant.
All right. Bye now, Camille. We'll chat some other time. Have a good one.
Bless you, everyone.
What time is it there now?
11:20.
Okay. It's okay. Okay. I love you, dear. God bless you. You hear the accent, right? You heard it.
I love you, dear. I heard that.
Absolutely.
Darling. Well done, darling.
Bye now.
Welcome to our website.
women.w2wpodcast.com. That's women.w2wpodcast.com.
We hope you find everything you need here.